Can anyone catch them, do you think?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, unbelievable. We didn't expect that.
On the red card, what were your view on the two incidents that were given as yellows?
I never seen something like it. So the rules can say that probably it's possible. You have to be very, very willing to do that.
Is there anything you can do? I mean, you've mentioned that you've been talking about it all week with your players. Is there anything more that you
I have
think
run
you can
out
do?
of ideas, I think.
Is that what you're going to need more of if you are to chase down the top four? And maybe
We need
get a
to play
Champions
with
League
11 players the last 16 games. That's going to be key to give us the best possible chance to win football matches, because to win games in the Premier League is hard enough. To win it with 10 men is very unlikely.
Hi everyone. So this is the post-match, post-match podcast or post-match review of the Arsenal game against Wolves. We have got our stars set right now. For everyone who has been asking for Deepak, he's back. Hi Deepak.
Hello.
And we have got GG14 back with us, and people who have been asking for him. Yes, GG, welcome back.
Hi.
And regular old Bob. I'm not gonna hype up Bob because he and me are the ones.
Nothing really to hype up, buddy. Yeah.
But we've got Aben back with us. Hi, Aben.
Yeah, nice to be back.
So this game, actually, before we start, right? This is one of those games that had me pegged on for, like, I'm literally gonna have future heart attack, heart-based situations because of games like this. The last 10 minutes, I was literally hiding behind my couch, looking at the monitor, going like, are they gonna score? Are they gonna score? Are they gonna score? That was my reaction. So Gigi, how was your reaction to the game? Like, apart from the gameplay and everything, what were your, your feelings of the game?
The whole game or just the last 10 minutes?
No, the whole game and especially the last 10 minutes.
Well, it was nervy, of course, which Arsenal game isn't. Every time it's what actually happens. We play the game so well, some way, somehow. We managed to just bottle it and it becomes a very difficult game for all of us. So I think I'm used to it by now. I just had to sit
Got
there.
a very strong heart, mate. You got a very strong heart.
Just sit there and hope that they don't concede. And of course, the boys did a very fantastic job not to have conceded. I was very happy about it. But I didn't hide behind my couch.
You've got a brave heart. But Bob, see, apart from the game in itself or the last 10 minutes, the results in itself, right? Like, there has been a lot of talk in the social media about how we celebrated. Like, what's that guy named? Ruben Neves came out and said, like, oh, they celebrated like crazy. Yeah.
I think it's more the envy coming out,
Let's not start there.
Okay. See, from an Wolves perspective, you would think that Arsenal are mid-table rivals. So in their opinion, they are right in saying that they've got one over their rival as such. And I think that's more the envy coming out of them celebrating. But honestly, if you look back before the game, Arteta spoke about having to play 17 cup finals. Our boys
we spoke about it first. So obviously, like, Arteta listens to our podcast, and that's why he said the same thing. So
yeah, no, totally. So having said that, they did play it like a cup final, as we saw. And the celebrations were indeed like a cup final, as the way it should be. Yeah. And we're going to be seeing more of that. And that's for sure, because I think it's just a passion being expressed, and there is no point crying over all these things. It's just a bullshit thing trying to move away from what has been a very difficult game. We did play with 10 men for almost good to 20 minutes or even more, including the stoppage time. So having done that, it's indeed a pleasure or a relief to, come back with 3 points. And that's what was reflecting. I mean, if they're going to have any problems with it, so let them be it, Why do we have to react back to it?
But in that scenario, Eben, right? Like, it's not just the Wolves players and the fans. It's also the other people, like regular social media, other fans coming out and saying, for me, it felt like, the whole Spurs losing the Southampton game and United doing what United does. All those fans kind of ballooned in together to be like, hey, look at Arsenal. They are like doing this.
when have other people not ballooned in when it comes to Arsenal? It's not the first time we have heard this. I think a few years back when we finished top 4 and celebrated, people came with this. But like Bob said, I think it was the whole world against us. So
Always going to be the case, right? Including the refs.
what happened in the
We'll
game
get
would
to the
not have
refs later,
happened.
Bob. Not right now.
What happened in the game would not have happened if it was not Arsenal. It would not have happened. So it was everything was going against us. We were pegged back. We defended well. So it was all that passion. It was released at the end. That win, we fought for it. So we celebrated. Now what
True.
others think, we don't care.
True. Actually, in that sense, Deepak, right? Like the game in itself, Wolves were coming in with a great run of form. I think they lost to City and Liverpool with 1-0 score lines, and they drew against Chelsea, right? 0-0. I think. So they are a team that's difficult to break down in sense of like the goals, in sense of like scoring against them. But I mean, no way the game we had was, swashbuckling. We were creating chances after chances or anything. Even I was surprised to look back and see that in the first half, we had 9 shots on goal, or 9 shots, not on goal, but 9 shots. That's like, I think our current average is 14 shots, and somehow we had 9 shots in the first half. Says a lot that we did something better. We did do something better, especially coming back into, playing after 18 days or something. Did you see that, or like, because I didn't see it. For me, fresh in my mind is all those 20 minutes of nerve-wracking football.
It was like a solid performance. You won't expect an open game like against Wolves. Plus, we are also not like scoring goals left, right, center. I expected a draw or just a 1-0 victory, either to Wolves or Arsenal. So for me, like nothing stood out. Just the goal wasn't like a scrappy goal, and like Laka missed like a glorious chance, which we can talk later. But yeah, for me it was just what I expected. I thought it would be a close game, and it was a close game, and a referee made sure it would be even a closer game.
Just on that, with all the recent results, I think the last 5 or 6 results that Wolves have had against the top 6 opposition have all been 1-0 results. So it's either they lose 1-0 or they win 1-0. So Wolves
it's not just top 6. It's like almost against every team. They just win 1-0 or like 2-0 max. They've conceded just 17 goals. So they are like difficult team to break down.
They've got
So like coming out with
record on the table, right?
Yeah, coming out like with 3 points, and I don't find any fault in celebrating. This is a huge win for us, given that Spurs lost, United drew, and something. Of course, we would celebrate.
Yeah, what I was going to say was that, like, with all the decisions that were happening here, you fight the system so hard, and you still come out with 3 points. Obviously, you have to celebrate, because at a point here, we're playing some very good football from like a part of the first half, and then in the second half we kind of turned around. So I was like, oh, were we going to concede or something? But then I was like, oh, last year by this time David Luiz was out, there was a pen, the whole 1-0 just turned into a 2-1, and then you know what happened. So I don't want to even mention it for us to start talking about it here, but something happened again, and then obviously we lost our chance to go forward or play our normal football. So I was like, oh my God, is it going to happen again? So like for us to just change the narrative this time around and not concede, I think it's more than just a win, because every time that we get an opportunity to get ourselves into a better position on the table, we lose. Or we do something, we bottle it ourselves, because it's Arsenal. But then this time around, we didn't do that. We actually took the opportunity, and then it was a rough patch, but we still took it. Came out with 3 points. I think it's something that we always have to celebrate, because I don't know where we'll be on the table if I didn't won that match.
Yeah, that's a fair point, actually. Like comparing last year when David Luiz gets sent off and we end up losing the game, to this year when we got a sending off and like we are hanging on to come up with 3 points. That is excellent point right there. Like yes, obviously that shows progress, right? Like that is how
Yeah.
we could measure progress. But Gigi, I'll hold on to you for a moment, right? Like, because this is a game that we have come up after like 18 days, or like whatever the time period where we have not played anything. And then when we come back, we play a system that's kind of different. Like, I don't know if you noticed the game, like Partey was
Yeah.
at the base of the midfield when
Yeah. And
Xhaka
then
was further
Xhaka
down.
and Odegaard were actually
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
middle pocket.
And this is not something new. We saw this, like Xhaka making a forward, like kind of a forward position when we had the ball, even during the game when we played like with both of them before. But having Partey in that position, and it was kind of interesting in the sense that they kind of countered it. We kind of used that and it was a game of chess in the first half where, Ruben Neves and who was the other midfielder who was doing
And
good things?
Tendonka.
Yeah, Tendonka. Those two were like getting the ball out of the position fast, and also like, and then our defense would step up, break the play, and then we would try and push the ball up the pitch. It was a kind of a game of chess. But do you see this is how Arteta wants to play? Like, have a base of midfield and two forward midfielders.
All right. I don't think this is how he wants to play, but I think eventually that's how we are gonna play. Because Wolves really like to stack up their midfield, yeah. So you would have to get people inside the midfield to actually receive the passes. And then on a normal setting, I would have loved if Xhaka had the ability to be the one to go and receive the ball from the defense. But we can clearly see that Granit is not up for that task. So I'd rather have Partey, who is more comfortable receiving the ball directly from Ramsdale, just turn and do his thing, rather than Xhaka take the ball and lose it. Because typical of Xhaka would be go and cover Tierney and let Tierney have a run. But if you do that now, because of the numbers that Wolves have in the midfield, you suffer. So obviously, this time around, we really did have to keep Xhaka in the midfield so that we can actually increase our numbers in our passes. So I don't think, up to now, I still don't think Granit is the one for the task, because we tried to sell him some time ago. Imagine if you had a Locatelli or somebody of that sort in that position, that would have been a different story altogether. But now that Granit is here, I think we have to use him into a system that works for us, because covering up the left back seemed to have been fine until he fouled Diogo Jota. So let's see, maybe they've had time enough for us to fix something up that would help us.
I mean, yeah, right now we cannot do anything. But Deepak, you have always been this Granit Xhaka, good and bad things. Like, you have said good things about him, you have said bad things about him. But like,
a lot of bad things.
But Deepak, like this position, whatever like Arteta is trying to bring out, we have talked about like him slotting into the left back position. That is what we expect Granit having the the play in front of him. That's when we think like Xhaka could play better. Like when the ball, when the team is in front of him. But higher up the pitch, that's not going to be the case. He needs to turn faster. He needs to do things quicker.
So like basically you need a better version of Xhaka. That's what it is. It's clear, right? So yeah, he is a good player. Like, there is no doubt about it. But given that Partey is a better player than Xhaka, like what Arteta wants to do is he's almost trying to replicate what City does, like have a deep lying playmaker and have a two midfielders who bomb forward. But we don't have those players right now, so we have to stick with what we have. And like, not just what we have, that is what we have actually, like Xhaka and Partey. So I don't see any reason like why Partey should be the box to box and like Xhaka to be the deep lying playmaker. Like Gigi said, he would definitely lose the ball if he's put under pressure. Partey is like very good in close spaces, so I don't like see why you have to change that.
Deepak, quick thoughts on the defensive headed clearance, as well as the potential own goal, which didn't quite happen.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like, see, I don't know like what to say. It's always like the same with Xhaka. He can be good and he can be bad. You saw in the game itself, he had like great passes, like he threaded the midfield and stuff, and he went ahead and like got a stupid yellow card which he didn't even have to do.
The shirt pull?
I thought he would get red definitely again for sure.
I had my thoughts as well, because I think initially when he touched down, I probably felt that could have been an yellow card, which the ref didn't give. I thought things were going in our favor at that time. Really, I mean, considering all the luck which has happened recently,
Are we going to go there, Bob? Are we going to start the referee discussion right now? Do
Yeah,
you
why
want
not?
to start that now?
At some point we have to, yes, but we're not. Don't wish to start.
No, but before that, right? Before we get on to the ref decision, Aben, I'll come to you regarding this, especially the decision to start Cedric in the right back, and not just the decision to start him, but I also felt this is a game where Saka didn't do what Saka does usually. He was not involved in a lot. I mean, it's no pressure on him, but he was not involved in a lot. Maybe it has got to do with what Cedric did, or maybe it has got to do with like our general gameplay, because the balls were mostly played from our left channel. Martinelli was involved a lot. Tierney was involved in a lot, but the right channel was not working as much. But still, at the end of the day, game, all our fans went like, yeah, Cedric had a decent game. Even Deepak, I guess, went, Cedric had a decent game.
He did have a decent game.
did
Why
have a
do
decent
you
game.
think that? He had as decent game as Tierney did. Tierney didn't do anything great. You have some kind of obsession with KT. He hasn't been that great this season.
He didn't do anything great. He didn't do anything great. Cedric did what he was supposed to do. He defended. He had some good crosses when he was up front. He didn't do any mistakes. So why do we go after Cedric generally? Because he does something or he doesn't defend properly. But he did everything fine.
There was a moment in the game where he actually fouled a person, and that I thought was a second yellow, so that he gets a red. And then he gets up and goes like this, like he didn't do anything. And I was like,
see, these are the kind of nitpicking you do on some players, like, right? So those are scapegoats. We have like that in Shaka and in Cedric, or even Holding. That's what we do. We pick on some players. KT has done like so many mistakes. Not even once you have like spoken against him. Just because he's inserting his shirt in the shots doesn't mean he's good.
No, I have always supported the Holding, and you guys have always been the ones against it. But yeah, I mean, it's difficult for me to.
Cedric can do that much only, and he did what he was supposed to do. I don't know why you expect so much from Cedric. He did what Tomiyasu would have done actually. Tomiyasu like doesn't like bring out like great.
Come on,
things.
that's not true. I mean,
what has Tomiyasu done? He has been solid.
Guys, I think you are taking in a different tangent, please.
But it's becoming.
I agree with Deepak. You cannot blame Cedric for this game. He did his job. He did it well, and there was nothing for him to blame. In fact, most of our players did their job this game.
I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying like he could have done more.
No, I think
you can't expect more from him. Simple as that.
You know what he is, and why you expect more from him?
Exactly. Why are you expecting more? He did what he could.
Then we will come and complain saying, "Oh, he is useless."
Okay. I'm not complaining. He's useless. He's our great right back. It's okay.
He is a backup, and he did what he was supposed to do by a backup. That's what we are saying.
Okay. So with the other players, we'll just touch a little bit about the other players before we go on to the ref decisions.
How about the goal, man? I was just wondering when are you going to talk about?
Yeah, that's where I'm getting at, right? Like, it was one of those other players was Gabriel in himself. Like, he has been putting a lot of good performances day in and day out, and he is kind of becoming our Koscielny in scoring these kind of important goals.
No, he's not becoming anybody. Did they mention that name?
Yes, no.
He's becoming his Gabriel. Please let me no.
No, I meant in the impact of it. Like
No,
he scores a lot of important goals.
No, he's scoring his goals. He's not becoming like anybody. I don't want him association with anybody. I beg. No.
All right.
Yeah.
But Bob, regarding not just that goal, right? In regular his performances, there was the other ball that I mean, the Laka miss. It was Gabriel's ball, and even in last couple of games, he has done the same thing. We have always applauded Ben White on his crossfield balls and stuff, but Gabriel has been doing that. Gabriel has been doing those kind of inside balls instead of this lofted balls a lot, and that has brought out a different dimension to our attack in general. Like it just takes out the midfield completely, that ball that goes in. But the goal was brilliant too. I mean, Laka. I mean, if the goal didn't go in, that's a great shout for a penalty for me.
Yeah, no, totally. I think more than the goal, I just want to really appreciate the work being done by Nicholas Jover, our set piece coach. He's been immense since the time that he's come. And if you look at the way that we were last season, we were almost in 17th or 18th place when it comes to set pieces. And I think from the stats, they've already scored 11 back in November. And furthermore to add now. So just a word for him for the immense work that he's been doing in getting this team going. That's the little differences that the team is actually making, or they have actually come up from since last season. So yes, Gabriel has been immense. I think, whenever I look at Gabriel, right, he's sort of the unsung hero in many of the times. He doesn't get much attention like what Ben White or what Aaron Ramsdale usually does. I think naturally because he's a bit shy and he's a bit quiet in all these things that he's doing. But he's been silently performing, and I would say he is the fulcrum of the defense. If without him, I feel the team wouldn't really have the same shape and balance. And he's just quite complementing with Ben White in that regard. And as well with the fact that, scoring important goals and all those sort of things. That ball to Lacazette, man, that was a thing of beauty. Seriously, I can't quite imagine how he could have the vision to actually go past. And like I said, perfectly bet the offside trap. He was there just waiting for that to come. So which means that there's been work going around that area for things like that to be expecting. I mean, even from our back line, for them to pick passes to our attackers.
No, I remember the exact same kind of pass, but to Martinelli in previous game or like 2 games ago, where like it was just Martinelli was fractionally offside in that run that he makes. So I was like literally looking at it go like, oh, I've seen this pattern of play before, and this thing from Gabriel before, which was really good, because we never see Gabriel as the passer from the back. We always see Ben White as a passer from the back.
Goes on to say the work being done at the back, in training and all those sort of things. So until or unless you are familiar with how your moves are going to be, it's very hard for you to expect from, I mean, such a pass could just come once in a blue moon. If you see more of that happening, which means that there's been instances of us practicing such scenarios within the training ground, and that's what is being reflected, which is good to see. I would have really liked, like I said, to have converted that chance, but that's actually a different thing to discuss here. But yeah, I mean, goes on without saying that Gabriel is one of the most important players in the team.
Gigi, I would want you to add on Gabriel, because I know you are a fan. I mean, we all know. So add more on like what he brings to the team, because it's not just about the on-field things, right? Like he's just a quiet performer, but he also gets well along with everyone. He's this kind of guy that everyone kind of like in the team could give the ball and okay, he is safe enough. Like not like other players.
Well, I think the whole reason that lots of people are talking about Ben White is because of his transfer fees. He came in for 50 million, so everybody's expecting him to be like somebody else who came in for 80 million. So it's just that comparison about who gets the spot in the England national team. That's why everybody's looking out for White. But of course, he's doing his own thing. But one thing about Gabriel is that goal scoring is actually his trade, even way before we bought him. He knows how to score goals because he was in the last time that if he hadn't been a defender, he would have been a striker. So I don't know how true that was, but he loves to score goals. But I think there's been work done on him because previously, when you look at his play, he wasn't making those defense splitting passes. And what Wolves did was that I keep saying it, they stuck up their midfield so much that if you want to go beyond the Wolves midfield, you'd have to either go over it or through it. And I think it's much more difficult for you to go through it than to go over it because when you go over, the ball doesn't land. But that pass was so perfect. And it looks like he's been practicing them a lot because from the start of the season, man was trying it, but it wasn't working. Well, it used to be a lot of wasteful passes. Tierney goes in, Gabriel just makes it, and then it goes for a goal kick and all. But it looks like instead of saying, no, bro, stop, it's not working, they've actually sat him down and be like, bro, if this is what you want to do, let's help you to do it right. And it looks like he's had a lot of help in getting those passes in. And if we're able to develop it into a different type of pattern, it will be very dangerous for other teams to defend against because we play it through and it sets you up. I remember the last time Lacazette did, Partey did exactly the same thing to Lacazette. I think that was a goal against our own goalkeeper Ramsdale, and it was so sweet a pass that he just couldn't miss. Unfortunately, he missed this one. I think there's been a lot of work done on the players in terms of their development, and they are young. So now I think it's adequate time. It's the right time for them to fix all those problems. And
guys, question for all of you: would Saliba come in and replace any of Ben White or Gabriel at this point?
No.
At this point, no.
Yeah, everybody actually knows the answer to the question, yeah. But how many people are willing to accept it? Because if we want to talk about it, I feel like the reason that he was sent on the loan is practically because of the question you're asking. Man wouldn't get playing time, so he needs to get playing time for us to see how good he is.
No, I'm just wondering. I'm just bracing myself for a scenario. We've got two defenders at the end of the season, and how would Saliba break into that? Should he come in?
So that the answer is there, Bob. Like if Saliba wants to break in, he has to perform better than either of our two defenders. At the moment,
and get the coordination. How to get the coordination?
Yeah. And at the moment, he's not. At the moment, he might not be. He might not come in and have a place right out right in the team.
I'm just wondering, guys. Sorry, if I have to be more clear. He's been putting team of the week performances every week, and
in the French league. In the French league.
See, you can just do with what you've got in front of you. You can't be playing in England tomorrow, right? And that's what he chose, and that's what Arteta as well accepted him to do so.
Yeah.
He's playing in Marseille. That's the French league, yes, but still, I mean, with whatever that he's been facing along, with bigger teams that he's been facing along, he is coming up with match-winning performances.
We are not saying he's not good. I'm not saying he's not good at all. What I'm saying is, what we all are saying is, to him to break into the team, he'll have to come back obviously next season. He'll get his opportunities probably in the cup games to start with. And then depending on his performances or what he does on this training ground, if he warrants a place ahead of Gabriel or White, he gets it. Otherwise he doesn't.
Or a three-man
no,
we could.
No.
At times we could go. Tactically against teams, if Arteta wants to go with a three-man defense, that will be ideal.
No, we are not doing that. It's very sad to see us go to a three-man defense even so often because of all the red cards, but I don't want us to play a three-man defense.
But Vijay, we could actually play a three-man defense one day, especially if you want to push White into the right back position.
Yeah, I'm not saying we couldn't. I'm just saying I don't want the Arsenal that I want to watch an Arsenal that's more free flowing. That's more on the front foot than defensive first. I've seen Arsenal, and this is the time where we are doing this defensive first thing. We are trying to get back into top 4, but once we get back into top 4, I want us to stay there. I want us to push forward. I don't want us to be barely making top 4 again. for me,
Your
the top
defense wins the titles, Vijay.
Yeah, I'm not questioning that. I'm just saying like we have to be front-footed. We have to stake our claim in top four once we get there.
Three-man defense doesn't mean you're on the back foot. It doesn't mean
Exactly.
you can still have your wing backs bombing and attacking.
What
it
is
doesn't
this?
mean you're on the
Actually,
back
it's
foot.
more threatening, in my opinion. Yes.
What is this? A day where I get, grouped
But
up
well,
like that?
I think Aben has a very good point, because if we actually the way that Tierney wants to play right now is to be the one to always be going for it. Now I feel like Kieran doesn't like staying in the back, and then Cedric obviously doesn't like staying in the back. So if you want to give these two players freedom to just go, you eventually have to play a D-back system. Just allow them to run. Because if you know imagine if you have a trusted back line of White, Saliba, Gabriel, and we know that if the ball drops into midfield, these people will just sweep it up. Of course, why not? Just allow Cedric and Tierney to run, of course. And Tavares would actually fit into that system so perfectly. Because man doesn't have that discipline to, he's still learning though. He doesn't have that discipline to stay back. But when you tell Tavares to go, bro, you get your goals.
Yeah, but that would mean us sacrificing a midfield position. That's what I
Coming
was
back
worried
to like Bob's question, if we finish in top 4, Saliba would be like good. If we don't, I think we would sell him. Play simple.
I think yes, makes sense.
Because like if you finish in top 4, you need like good players to play in multiple competitions. If you're not in top 4, it's basically nothing.
But we could still end up in Europa League. We would need more players.
Nobody's ending up in the Europa League, bro. We've had
You
this
don't want to,
conversation
buddy.
too
That's
many
different
times.
thing.
No, now I'd rather actually have our season without any other competitions, any other European competition, and just play the league than to go and play that horrible league again, bro. Nah, we're ready for any Europa League.
Every good teams need like good defenders. Like City has Laporte, Stones. Like Stones was almost their best defender. Like yes, he doesn't even get to play right now. So obviously Saliba needs to prove. Or right now these two are like almost the best players. You don't want to break a partnership which is doing great.
No, okay, yeah, I think that's more I wanted to hear.
And I think Arsenal actually deserves a good backup as well. It doesn't hurt for us to have a good backup.
Yeah. So to get back to the game, Aben, so I'll ask you this, right? Like Lacazette miss, not just about the Lacazette miss. We have not had we're all looking to sign a striker, and Lacazette had actually, I think, 4 shots in this game, which is a pretty good number of shots for a striker in any Arsenal team. But the lack of goals is what is making these question marks grow louder, right? Like, I understand that he is not there in the team for the goals. I understand that our wingers are the ones, Saka and Martinelli are the ones that is literally for the goals. But
no. He is in the team for the goals. He is a striker. He has to score goals.
No, but if I'm going to give it a different dimension,
right? Like, we don't have Salah or Mane, like kind of wingers. We have just Martinelli and Saka, who just scores 5 to 6 goals a season, not 20-25 goals. Lacazette
For me, it's like deja vu again. Okay, it's like deja vu. I think we were crying for the same thing when we had Giroud.
But Giroud scored more goals than Lacazette. Lacazette has scored 3 goals.
That's the problem.
In terms of missed chances, Giroud was the same.
but okay.
Lacazette is here for scoring goals. There's no doubt in that. Like Deepak said, that's why we went out looking for a striker, because we need a striker who puts in goals back into the back of the net. In the last 10 years, we have had 2 strikers probably. After the traitor left us, only Oba has scored, and probably Alexis scored. We haven't had strikers who have scored goals. When Oba was there, firing in, we didn't have that problem. But obviously now we are down to Lacazette and Nketiah. We don't have anyone else. And he's supposed to score goals. He doesn't. We can't do anything much about it. So he had 2 clear-cut chances. The one where Saka dribbles and gives him a pass. That was a good chance. Right or left of the goalkeeper, that's a goal. Obviously the Gabriel pass we talked about, that was an amazing chance. That should have been converted. Now, had any of those chances been converted, we would have been a little bit less nervy in the last 20 minutes with a cushion, but that didn't happen. And that's typical Arsenal. When Giroud was playing, we had the same problem. We had chances, but the conversion rate was poor. So it's the same thing over again. His link-up play is good, and not taking anything away from him. He made the Gabriel goal for us. Because if he had not gone for the ball, Gabriel we might not have got that goal itself. But his link-up play is amazing. His attitude is good, but we need goals as well.
So that's the thing, right? Like for me, why I brought in like the scenario is these are the games where we need him to score, because Martinelli is our shot monster. He's the one who takes a lot of shots. He's the one who kind of like brings that final third Arsenal alive. Him and Saka. Saka does the whole dribbling thing, but Martinelli is the one who shoots a lot. He's a shot monster. He does those things. And in a game where he is out of the game, he's taken out of the game, that's when your striker needs to do something. He needs to create more shots. And for me, the bigger problem with Lacazette is that he's not letting the shots go. There are not a lot of shots. When you get the ball, you can feel that when Lacazette gets the ball, he's looking for a pass. Even as an Arsenal fan, as a person who's watching it on TV, I'm going like, when Lacazette gets the ball, okay, who's making the run? Who's Lacazette going to lay this off to? I'm not looking for like, oh, he's going to take a shot. That's not even in my mind. Bob, does that bother you a little bit about Lacazette?
I don't know about you guys, but I keep browsing through this transfer market website every now and then to see who's still available on free transfer. And there are some great names which pop out there. I'm sorry, I'm not talking about Lacazette as such, but still, whatever that he does, with all his good intentions and everything, whatever that he does, still worries me actually, because there are some chances which he has to be burying. And of course, the intent is there. We all acknowledge that he's been doing the right things, and then he's been pulling together for the team and all those sort of things. We definitely do appreciate that. But still, it's sort of concerning if we are not able to put chances. We are not a team like City. We can generate up 10 chances and then, almost not choose to convert some of them. We do convert. We do create only little chances with the team that we have. And so we have to be more clinical. And unfortunately, we are with, like I said, and Eddie, during this last part of the season. So we just have to look at how better we could do. So if I talk about some of the names still available out there, then yes, Diego Costa is there. We have our good old Yaya Sanogo still available. And if I were to throw a name which looks like which rhymes like Cristiano Ronaldo, there is someone called Cristaldo available in the Argentinian league. So,
oh my God,
quite good. Some and Hall Rups and Kanu as well. I don't know how much you remember about this Wales heroics, but yeah, he's still out there.
It's basically like Arteta knows this, or not just Arteta, the whole world knows this. We needed a striker. This is a gamble which we took, and we have to stick by it. We can't do anything else.
A gamble, Deepak, don't you think we actually went out for a strike? I think we did.
Yeah, we did. That's what we couldn't sign anyone. That is a gamble which we know. Not just this season, I'm saying. Like I was pretty sure Rob was going to be sent out. So.
See, but this is what we are like. This is the hand that we have been dealt with. Right now, we don't have strikers, but this team needs goal, Deepak. Right. So where are the goals coming from? It's one thing that we could expect. Like from tomorrow, I expect Lacazette to score like 10 goals to the rest of the season. There is something called expectation, and there is something called like fantasy. If I'm expecting Lacazette to score 10 goals for the rest of the season, I am
not expecting us to score any goals this 16 games, next 16 games. I'm just expecting us to win. That's it.
But
I don't care. Like
I think the goals.
The goals is like also, yesterday we didn't win because Lacazette didn't score. We won because Gabriel scored. That's it. It doesn't matter who scores the goals right now.
But where are the goals coming from this team, right? Like
where did the goals came until the start of the season? Lacazette has scored 3 goals, and like Aubameyang has scored 1 goal. This is what 2-3 goals. This is what our strikers have scored. But still, we have got this much points. that's what we can do right now. You can't like expect anything. Probably what that Pepe might come in, but that is a big if.
I'd say our goals are coming from either Smith Rowe, Saka, or Martinelli. The
That's it.
majority of them, at least. Then
And
there's
Gabriel.
Gabriel, set pieces. Set pieces are a decent percentage of our goals. So that's going to come from defenders scoring in. So, like Deepak said, it doesn't matter. We don't need 5-6 goals. We need a goal to win the game.
I think Partey will also score before the season ends from a shot. So we are hoping for good things to come.
Not happening.
And he scored one goal.
He scored in a header.
Partey and White, I'm trusting them to bang in some goals before the season ends.
See, because the question is, right, like, let me put it this way, right? We have 39 points right now. We have 16 more games to go. And we need to be in and around the 70-point mark for us to finish in top 4, which means we have to make 30 points out of the next 16 games.
10 games you need to win. You have to win 10 games. Like that is what I'm saying. It's a gamble which Arteta has taken, or that is what we have been forced into. Even if we try to sign.
We have been forced into that. I wouldn't say it was gamble. I would say we were forced into that. And we were not, we were not foolish enough to go for mediocre players to just...
You understand? That's what I actually love about the transfer window. We wanted a big player that wasn't going to be tested around to see if he can score. What is he coming to do? Nobody knows. We actually went out for somebody who can do the link-up play and still bang in the goal. Somebody who has 20+ goals in a season. Do you understand? And it's not a lazy player just waiting for a tapping or something.
I think that's what is the difference from Wenger panic years, Vijay. So if you looked at it, we in the past have got Kim Kallstrom and then
Dennis Suarez, Lucas Perez, Dennis Suarez.
What was that Korean striker's name? I forgot.
Park,
yeah.
Yeah. Ju Young Park, yeah.
But okay, so we are at the point where we have to discuss this, the refereeing decisions. I know we have been talking about referees so much, but still it keeps happening over and over and over again. But even Arteta has come out and said like he had to have a conversation, which is a strong statement for me because the manager has never acknowledged that thing before. And we have always toyed around that idea of like not blaming it on the FA, not blaming it on the referee. But I think this is a point in the season where we need to, it's not going to change anything, but make the team feel that it's an us versus them. That's what Mourinho used to do that.
I think it is already that siege mentality what brought out that celebration at the end. It was like referee tried so hard to screw us over and we still won the game, so we celebrate.
So Gigi, the foul in itself, right? Like there are been like a lot of people who are talking different things. Oh, it is 2 yellow cards and everything. But for me, if the first one is a yellow card offense and it is not a position where it's playing an advantage in itself, right? So if you have played an advantage, you are not giving the warning to the player. And how would the player know that he is on a warning? Like yellow card in itself means a warning, right? I don't understand how you could give 2 warnings back to back and give a send off.
Well, I think the argument is basically geared towards the fact that he didn't know that he was on the first yellow to actually even take a second. Because if he had known, he wouldn't have made that happen. Yeah. But, well, the first thing I would like to say is that the throwing that Podence was taking in itself was a foul throw. And then this is my first time ever watching football that an advantage is being played and the player has lost the ball. And we haven't gone back to the original foul, but I've actually given the second foul with a yellow card. Because if you think the first tackle was so strong enough to merit a yellow card, even if the play is stopped along the line, we give the yellow card for the first offense. Even though now we are saying that the second offense merits a yellow card, well, let's just take it like that. I've never seen it in football, so I really can't tell because I don't know whether it's in the rules or not. I think if it were in the rules, I would have seen it by now. But with all the people talking about it, I find it very hard to believe how that could have been a second yellow card, because a yellow card is a caution for us to know if this, you understand?
Yeah, if you give
Yeah, the only time I see a yellow card being flashed for 2 reasons is when 2 players are in a fight and you are giving each one a yellow card. So if you are giving 2 yellow cards for one piece of play and they didn't go back to the original foul after an advantage and still took the second one, I find it very hard to see how that doesn't look so deliberate. To me, I think Gabby was frustrated and needed to come off. So when I saw Smith on the touchline, I thought Gabby was the one coming off. But I think Wolves did very well in attacking our players, our left and right wing players, because they doubled up on them. So it made it very hard for them to impact the game in any way. And he was frustrated. But, well, I don't think that was the best referee decision I've ever seen. And of course, the first time the yellow card is given to a player on two separate fouls in the same place is an Arsenal. So I'm not really surprised though.
But Deepak,
interestingly, it's not the first time. At least in the Premier League, it is.
That's the thing, Aben, right? Like the when I see the people coming up with like, oh, this has happened before, they're bringing in like from Wales 2nd division or something. A video that I see is like from Spanish 3rd division or Wales 2nd division. It has not happened in the in the top 5 leagues, which means that it's not common.
No, it's definitely not common. It happened because it was Arsenal. There is no disputing that fact. But I did. So first time it happened, I did go back, search Google and find out. So it did happen in a Euro or a World Cup qualifier when Ireland played, I think, oh, come on, who was it? Ireland played something, I forgot, Hungary or somebody. And there's a Turkish referee who did the same thing. And the Irish Football Association inquired about it with the FIFA or whatever the rules body, and they confirmed that it is a valid decision. So it did happen.
It is a logical thing. Like if you see those 2 are fouls, like it is logical, but it doesn't make sense that it hasn't happened, and since it's to Arsenal, it would happen. That is what it is. Like if this had happened to any other team, like Aben said, if it was United or like let's even say like if it was whatever any other team, and like
by the way, talking about United, did you guys see today's game where like Harry Maguire did the no defending, whatever that is?
See, like he after the 2 seconds after that, he literally stopped and like pushed him. They didn't give him a penalty. Like if it was Xhaka, it would have been a red and a penalty.
He pushed him and stepped on him. There was a big stump on his.
And the commentators are going like it was accidental for what the hell. It's the same. Like it is a logical thing. I agree it can happen, but it happened only because it was us. Nothing other than that.
Even if it was a non-league opposition, they would not. No, Michael Oliver would not have given that card.
but okay,
we should like Arteta has to do something about this. He knows that referee is going to do something. Gabby didn't have to do that. He was clearly frustrated, as GG said. Like, so he has to sit down the players and talk to them and make them realize that you don't make any stupid fouls. If you do that, you are going to get sent off. It's like 15 red cards since he has come up. He has to address this. There is no two-way others about it. We can't like go on playing every other game with 10 men and come with 3 points. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, Arsenal is actually the only
expecting a red card.
Actually Premier League team that has more experience in playing with 10 men in the whole of the Premier League now.
Okay, so Bob, regarding the player discipline side of it, right? Like, I mean, Deepak made the point, which is like 15 red cards since Arteta has taken over. And some of them, like the David Luiz one, there are a lot of red cards that's unfair, but there are also a lot of red cards that's
for me, it's just 2 of them which is unfair, which is David Luiz and Martinelli. The rest of them are all red cards. It is. You cannot like say it is not red cards.
No, red cards. See, like Partey's one, right? Like for me, that was the second offense was a yellow, but the first offense was not a yellow. So it was like
you know he's on a yellow, and why would you go and make a foul? That's a player's mistake. You cannot go and blame the referee saying that the first wasn't an yellow.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, but
so that is where it comes, right? The discipline. You know you are an yellow, and you wouldn't go and make a stupid foul.
See, Deepak, but the question is also right. Like when you look at the table for the number of fouls that Arsenal make, we are at the bottom of the bottom of the list for the number of fouls we make, which is not reflecting in the number of cards we get, right?
Yeah,
Which
because
means like
I think,
even if we
yeah, I
make one
understand.
foul, we are getting a card, which doesn't make sense. It's not happening for the other teams, which is
It
not
is not
fair.
happening. It is not fair, but you know what it is, right?
We cannot play a game without fouling, right? Like, are we expecting a team to play a game with no fouls? Is that what
I
we
am
are
not
looking
saying
for?
the first foul it is wrong. It is, you know, you are on a yellow card. You don't make stupid mistakes. It is as blatant. The second yellows which we are getting are as blatant second yellows we can get. That is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but that is the point, right? Like the whole.
So you are
gameplay.
saying, okay, like we are not making the first yellow, we wouldn't have made this mistake. Shaka would have gone and done that again.
No, I'm just saying, like, it is normal for teams to go and say to the players, okay, in this situations, take a yellow. There are situations in a game where players are encouraged to take yellows, and we cannot do it because we get stupid yellows in the first place. And if we end up doing those like actual scenarios where our players are
that is what
ready to
I'm
take
saying.
an yellow,
We are getting stupid yellows, and we are also going and making the stupid mistake again and getting the second yellow. Why would you even do that? That is
If
what
you
I'm
get a
asking.
yellow, you don't make a stupid yellow.
Yes.
Unless
Why are we
you
making
saw
that?
us stopping a goal with your hand.
Well,
That
I think I
situation
hear
is different.
what you're saying, but if we are always under contention of getting a yellow card, then we are not going to tackle for any ball. Every 50-50 chance, we let it go. That is definitely going to affect our football because we are all challenging for a ball, and if it's in an even position for both of us, we all try to get it. But if every time I'm going into a tackle and I'm like, nah, this is us now, I might get a yellow, then what type of football are we playing? I think that's what Vijay is trying to say. It has to be fair for all of us. Somebody makes. Today, I saw Luke Shaw pull a shot just the same way like Xhaka did. Xhaka gets a yellow, Luke Shaw doesn't. So where is the
We did
fairness?
get an yellow for that.
You understand? So I don't get it. Look at the way Maguire just stamped on the guy. A shot pull like that, and then they give
Mane dives all the time.
a shot pull like that, and they give
shit all the
Manchester
time.
City a penalty for them to go and play it in. Do you understand? There are certainly some tackles that are yellow cards, like what Xhaka did on Jota. There's no two ways about it. But there are certain 50-50 chances that Partey's first yellow card, as Vijay is saying, was nowhere a yellow card. It's not certain decisions are taken. Because I don't understand how Saka got fouled chance after chance.
I think he's one of the most fouled players in the league.
Tackle after tackle, and nobody gets a card for it. You understand what I'm saying? It's frustrating. Because if you're a player and you're afraid to put your leg in there and try and get a chance, well, I don't see what it is. Because they clearly stepped on Tomiyasu's face, yeah, and nobody got a card for it.
Yeah.
But I remember back then in last season, Nketiah just came onto the pitch, and then there was a 50-50 chance. They went to look at it in slow motion, and it looked dangerous, and he was sent off. So where is the fairness? How are the rules so standard for everybody? It's clear for some people, and it's clear for others. And
all I am saying is, you know, they are against you. Why would you even go and
I
make the
think what
second
Vijay and I
tackle?
are trying to say is that we can't play football like that. What do you mean by they're against you? Why are
I
they
agree.
called
You cannot play
referees?
football like that.
They can't play football like that.
But if you get your
You're going to
first
be
yellow,
losing
you have
games
to be careful.
if you are playing like that.
If you are on a first warning, you shouldn't
You
make
have to be
stupid
careful.
fouls.
No. Okay.
That is what it
So
is.
I think, okay.
Yeah, we
Anyway,
all
I
agree on
think,
that, exactly.
see, we could keep going this all day long. I think we won't get an answer because nothing, whatever that's happening is fair and reasonable. So I think what Arteta would say, I'm just trying to think of it because I think when he mentioned in the post-match conference, he mentioned that he's trying all he can, but he can't really do because it's very hard to, prepare for situations that you can't really even think of. I mean, we are falling into traps that nobody could think of, like, oh yeah, you could get possibly 2 yellow cards within the same instance, which is what happened. And we would eventually go into a similar instance or a different one next time. And nobody would have got carded in the past, like what Aben did, you try Googling all those things along and there would have been an instance in 1966, 67 somewhere where some player got carded and that would have been eventually rescinded or whatever. But we would still keep falling into these things, which we can't really prepare. I don't really know what Arteta would say to these players. You guys did your best, but still, to Deepak's point, you try not to do anything stupid when you are on a yellow because the luck is not in our favor. So
But
whenever
So-
you're sure and committed, go into a tackle. If not, don't go for it.
So let's stop the refereeing decisions. I mean, we have talked enough. There is one more player that I want to touch up, Bob, before we kind of wrap it up, right? Like Rob Holding. I
Yes.
have been a big fan of him all through the time. I believe when Wenger said he didn't cost 50 million, I believe that he's a good player. Maybe not our starter, but he's a very good squad player for me. And the 19 minutes or 20 minutes that he was in, he was a monster on the day.
That was
that
his
was a-
best performance in Arsenal shirt. That's it. So you know, like how.
No, actually, like, no, he did have better performances before too, Deepak. Come on.
Like this season, and see, like if you want, you said right, you want to move
No,
after
I'm not.
top four.
No, I'm not
You have to
saying.
move. That's it.
I'm not saying he's a starter for us, but I'm just saying like he's not as
He
worse
was
as,
good. He was good. That's it. It is.
Yeah,
You cannot like keep on saying like, oh, Rob Holding is someone 50 million.
no,
He didn't cost 50 million
No,
because
he's
he's not worth
maintaining it
50
as
million.
No, I'm just trying
Rob
to say
Holding,
like,
when he started, he did very well. I think he had a long-term injury. Before that, he was doing very well. He probably had a high ceiling, but after the injury, he didn't have the pace. And we have seen him play. He wasn't
no, I'm not making him like our starter. That's not the point. Like what I was trying to get out of it is like, okay, let's appreciate what he did in this game, right? Like, well,
He was. That's what I'm saying. He had one of his best performance in a national shirt, even though he played for just 19 minutes. I would have even given him the man of the match.
Oh yes.
Definitely.
I think that you have to really appreciate Arteta for bringing him on, especially during such a precarious scenario where things could have gone either way. I mean, rather than replace Martinelli with another attacker like Pepe or someone,
Of course, he had to do that. He wouldn't have like brought on an attacker.
No, so see, ideally you would have thought that you could bring in an attacker and still maintain some sort of a shape and then try and get a 2-0 result.
Never. Arteta is never going to do that.
I mean, and that's where I think he deserves credit for what he has done. And then I mean, Rob Holding had one of the better performances than whatever that he had showed in the recent times, at least. And he's been a great servant, so far. He's performed whenever he's called for, not throwing tantrums, when he's not playing and all those sort of things, which is really good. And I really love his hairline this season. So I have to definitely mention that as well.
All right, but let's leave it at Rob Holding's hairline for this episode. So yeah, guys, if you like what you have heard from us, we do this sort of things, and do like, share and subscribe, and comment in your moment in the match and your thoughts on the refereeing decisions and where we stand on. And absolutely, splendid discussion, guys. I mean, I was ganged upon, but I did like it. So thank you so much for joining in. Thank you, guys. Talk to you next time soon. Bye.
Thank
Thanks
you.